Jim, just because we haven't asked about him in a while.
Could you start over again, please?
Just because we haven't asked about him in a while, obviously on the PUP list, but is Taylor Decker making good progress towards a mid-season return?
Yes. He's making progress. Yeah. Still up to, obviously, we're still up to your doctors and evaluations and all that kind of stuff.
How do you think Greg Robinson has played in his absence?
He's gotten better every week. A little bit better. He's improving, working at it.
I don't know if you saw the comments by Everson Griffin, but what do you make of those comments that he said about Greg Robinson?
You know, unless we see or hear something, we don't make any comments in relationship to what we heard about somebody saying this or that. And even if we did, we usually don't respond to it.
He called him lazy. Is he a lazy player? What are his work habits like behind closed doors?
All we know is what we've responded. Just like I told you just a minute ago, you asked me about him. I'm not responding to anything anybody else said about it.
Coach, on the other side, though, isn't there a tendency, perhaps, maybe that person who is being spoken about can use that as some kind of fuel for their game, and you might see some kind of, you know, spurt or something?
Here's what I believe. I believe that good players don't need external motivation to do their job.
Jim, you guys had a stretch in the second half, 6 straight runs, 5 yards or more, a couple 11-yard pops. Obviously very small sample size, but do you see that as a positive trend that things are maybe starting to click up front for that element of the offense?
Yeah, you know, I do think that it's been game to game for us. You know, there have been a couple games we did decently in comparison to what our opponents did on the ground, which was helpful in terms of being able to get a win. Obviously, we did not perform nearly as well as we'd like to perform with our ground game in the last game. But like anything else, I do think that it's coming, you know, and it's just those things that you work on, you keep working on them in practice, you keep trying to get after it. And at some point in time, I just believe that the more work you put in, the better you're going to be. Now, understand, because some of you guys will pipe in and say, well, you know, you've never done this or never done that. We're not going to be a 150, 200-yard rushing team. That's not how we're built. You know, we want to just have a good, respectable running game. Make teams honor it where they don't just discount it. I think that's the way in which we'd like to approach this thing. And I think we're working to get to that point.
Hey, Coach, a lot of belief after the Sunday game against Atlanta that they would have not reversed that call against other teams like a New England or a Green Bay, but they would only reverse a call against like maybe the Lions. I know when your players agreed with it, T.J. Lang, and a lot of the media members believed it too nationally. Did you buy into that there are certain teams in the NFL that might not get as much respect as other teams?
In terms of officiating?
Yeah.
No. I don't believe that.
Is there any, you guys are an inch away from being 3-0, instead you're 2-1, and you've made that very clear how you feel about looking back on that game, but is there any added fuel, do you think? You practiced yesterday, your players have kind of an edge that they feel like one got away and maybe added motivation going into this week's game?
Not directly related to that particular call, that particular instance. I think anytime just in terms of competitive individuals that when things don't go their way the week before, you would think that they would certainly be eager to get back out there and prove that they can get back on the winning track again. I think that's a normal process. And does not have to do with whatever the situation is. However we lost the game, whether we lost it by 50,000 or lost it by half a point, I still think you'd get the same kind of determination. And also I think you may not have been here with us much through the years, but I'll reiterate this, that all the good teams I've been around, that you couldn't tell the difference on Monday whether they won or lost a game when you sit in the meeting room for the first time. And I think that's a great trait because of the fact that if they lost the game, they're using that particular fuel, obviously, to get themselves ready in terms of their preparation. If they won the game, they know that that one is behind us. There's nothing they could do about it, and they can't rest on their laurels. You can't get caught up in flattery when you do well. Flattery is much like flowers. You can smell them, but you can't eat them. And so, you know, there's a number of different things that I think that how we approach these things, and that I would anticipate that our team is sort of catching on.
So I'm going to ask a follow-up. Did you notice a difference in the meeting room on Monday between like after the Giants game and then after the Falcons game?
Not really. not to the extent where there was no jovialness, after a couple wins, but obviously you can tell determination is something that I think should always be part of that Monday meeting, and in terms of improvement, because no matter what occurred in the game, you're never as good as you think you are when you win. You're never as bad as you think you are when you lose. So when you look at the film, you see sort of a mixed mash of inconsistencies when you win, and you see some when you lose as well. They just hurt you a little bit more. So. Those are the things that in our game that you just have to kind of deal with from week to week and correct your problems and mistakes.
To bounce back something your team had when you got here, or is it something that's been strengthened through the players or whatever over a period of time?
It's something that you'd like to have. That's the thing that I think is important. We have 16 opportunities in this league in terms of the regular season. To perform and to perform well. So there's not a whole lot of opportunities. So each and every one is extremely important. So the ability to come back, after a loss, I think is critical. To get yourself out of slumps, you have to do them, in a hurry. And I think our guys are certainly, up for that challenge.
Jim, I asked you yesterday about just the complexity of Zimmer's fronts and disguises and all that. How important is a guy like Travis Swanson, a savvy veteran that's seen quite a bit in helping you decipher and block against those?
This comment that I make is not going to be in comparison to what Graham could do when he's in there, because Graham was very capable as well. So I don't want you to make any mistakes saying that it would be a tremendous difference in that regard in terms of knowledge and functioning, because he functions extremely well, very smart, very capable. But Travis has been in it a bit. He's had a few more snaps in this league. He's also very, very capable. And I think just in terms of the nuances of the game, even though you've seen a bunch, it's getting everybody else on the same page that you're on as well. Quarterback starts with a quarterback to the center. Center helps disseminate the information. So I think anytime that you have a guy that has played as well as Travis has played and has seen as much football as he can play, as he's played, that obviously that'll help.
Coach, on the other side of the ball, how important is Jared Davis to your run defense against elite running backs, whether it's Devonta Freeman or Dalvin Cook and guys like that?
Yeah, I think, obviously, he's been able to perform well for us, and he's trending in the direction of getting him back. And I think, every game that he's played thus far, when he's been in there, he's been a factor. And if he plays in this game, I don't anticipate it'll be any different.
One more about the officiating. I know you said it goes the same for every team. But
You love that topic, don't you?
yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, Seattle, Dallas, Atlanta, Green Bay, these are games that Coles have gone against. You weren't here for all of them. The Titans on Thanksgiving.
I was there for the three that you named.
Well, there was a Titans game too.
Evidently, you haven't been following us close. I was right here during that time period.
But these calls go against the Lions, it seems like, on a pretty routine basis. Like, how can you explain that if you don't think there's a...
I don't worry about explaining it because I don't have that woe is me attitude. You have to kind of look at where a person's from and the background and where they grew up. Labels get put on people for whatever reasons they are, and you can take them and live with them, make excuses for why you're not successful, blame whoever for your mistakes and problems, or you can attack the situation and go win ball games and forget about all that other stuff. That's what we got to do. We just got to win. That other stuff doesn't really matter. There's no magic about it. All right? There's no hocus pocus. There's no good teams can win consistently, and they don't need calls by the official to go their way in order to win. They make a difference, and so that's the way we'd like to approach that.
Last question. TJ Lang doing his leg.
Injury report will be out this afternoon, and it'll be exactly what the league requires us to do. There'll never be any more or any less, so you can check it out. Other question?
Break your season down into quarters.
Yes.
This is the end of your first quarter. What does 3-1 mean in a first quarter, if anything?
It doesn't. No guarantees. Obviously, no guarantees at all. You certainly, for us, it's the best that we can be prior to at this point in time. So we want to try to make certain we make the best of our situation.